Hello, my friends. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Gran Turismo 7, a game where the grip is temporary, but the shame is permanent. Today's lesson is a very important one, but it's also quite simple. It goes a little like this. Focus on lap 1. Today, my friends, we're back at Laguna Seca, and I managed to get a better qualifying time. I'm in the 122s. Finally, I knew that was going to give me a better position in the race start, given the AB split that I've been racing against lately. And really, the goal of this race was just to try not to lose that many positions, if I could. So diving into the first corner here, I did start third, which in my mind means I only have 2 people to conquer in front of me, and if I can just hold off everyone else behind me. Granted, the guy in first who started the race does have a qualifying time of 1:21, so I expected him to be pretty rapid. I could not manage 21 in the time I was given to qualify. But going back to the race, I already started to lose a bit of focus right here. As I took that turn, I left a window open for Jiri to come on by. And unfortunately, I had to give him space as he was on the inside. So tried to do the old switcheroo on him here. And I got a little bit of a run. I don't think he'd like that because he did come left. And granted, this is a terrible place to pass. And I was going too fast to make it stick anyway. But right here is where I got off the line. And, well, I couldn't just cut over to block everyone. So I did have to let those people through. And even my twin, who copied me in the Porsche, I had to let him through. And then I just scrambled through the corkscrew there. To make my way out. And just like that, I'm down 4 positions. So there's a lot that can be said for just focusing on your first lap. You know, obviously you have to be friendly to the drivers around you, but this is a time where everyone's bunched up, so it's very easy to make passes, and it's very easy for you to give up positions. And unfortunately it didn't feel like I hit that guy who I just made it pass, because there was no force feedback, there was no noise or anything. That might have been a little bit of a netcode issue. I did have bad connection when I started this race. Despite my PlayStation being literally plugged into internet, I kept getting higher ping on some of my races, so I was just hoping that wouldn't be too big of a detriment moving forward. Jumping ahead to later in this lap, I guess I didn't like being in 6th. I decided to take a mouthful of sausage there.
Oh my God, bro.
And give up 6th position. I think 7th was comfier for me. Did try and give it a little bit of a fight here, but he just had the inside line. Can't really fight that through the corkscrew, and you don't really want to in the first place. And you'll notice here in the last corner, I get really close. It looks like there might have been some contact, but again, I didn't have any force feedback. There was no noise or anything to let me know, so I'm just at this point wondering why bad things happen to good people. So getting started on lap 3 here, and I actually took a look behind me just to see the competition. I noticed Jeffy here flashing his lights. And he has a faulty wiring harness or something, making his car do that. But I've always kind of wondered why other people do that. Like, you're devoting energy to move your hands on your steering wheel to flash your lights in order to try and distract people. When most people drive on the hood cam, like this view right here, where you saw the rear view there for a sec, is really the only view, or the interior view, I guess, that would work to distract someone. So, yeah, I don't know. That's always confused me when someone would try and deliberately make effort to do that. But quite simply, I just decided I'm not going to fall for his tactics. I'm just going to focus on racing. Get a little run up the inside of my Porsche Nemesis here, but he defends it very nicely. I back off just a little bit because there's no point in just flying into this corkscrew. We're both going to end up in the sand anyway if I were not to back out. Shit, that was my fault. This guy is very glitchy, or I am. It was probably me, given my internet connection, but I was prepared to give him the position back since I did hit him, but he just didn't get a move on very quickly. So I'm keeping an eye on behind me because I'll give it back to him if he catches up. But, you know, you can't really spend that much time waiting for someone unless, you know, they're like fully off the track, then it's probably the right thing to do. But Jeffy comes up the inside of him anyway and gets in between, so I was still planning to give it back to him if I needed to. I would be the nice guy. Wrapping up lap 7 here, getting ready to go into the pits, and I actually just decided to take an alternate line, somewhat of a maybe experimental line we'll go with. So that's one positive about Laguna Seca, is you can just struggle your way into pits and still come out okay. Now fast forward through the final lap here. I'm fast forwarding because I had a little bit of a run on these guys in front of me, Jiri and Mothaz, I guess we'll go with. But they stopped being aggressive on the last lap. I thought for sure they would keep bumping each other like they were on the lap previous. I'd be able to catch up to them, maybe make a move, but they behaved the rest of this lap, and that left me in 5th. So 3rd to 7th and back to 5th to finish the race. Bummer. If only I had been a little more aggressive at the start. Could have been a much better race. Now, given how the last race went, you know I had to go again, and this time I was ready. I'm warming up. This is how you warm up. Get the shoulders ready. Get the elbows ready. I'm going to stick them out. Now, clearly I had a very well thought out plan for this race. We'll see if my warm-up makes a difference here shortly. But in between this race, I did actually take a break. I powered off the PlayStation, reset the network. It looks like I have a better connection now. I'm not really sure what's going on. So hopefully no invisible bumps this time around. Because I did end up, this was a slightly faster room. There's some familiar faces in it. But I started 5th, so I wasn't quite as far up the rankings. So I knew I had to focus. You could tell that I'm focusing because there's no talking going on. There's only breathing. If I were to play my sounds right now, yeah, that sums it up. Going up the hill here, you can see there's too wide at the front. It's not the best view here. But then at the exit of the turn, you can see someone has left the smooth thing and has entered the bumpy thing over there. So what we will do is enter a replay in Sim Racing Stewards My Own video. You can see these two pushing the limits up the hill here, right? And then we can clearly see that the track goes to the left, which means both drivers inherently should also go to the left. But no, Pablo here in the yellow Porsche decides I'm going to go right into the obstacle that is to my right. And, well, the inevitable happens. And that did seem a little bit intentional. Perhaps he was just going to the right briefly to get a better line. But in any case, it's the first lap. Like, there's not really much need. Need to get past this guy. I don't know how at this point, but... Oh, did not mean to do that. Sorry. So needless to say, not the best start ever for our friend in first place there, but the havoc was not done being wreaked by Mr. Pablo up there in the yellow Porsche. Take a look at this, right? Darts to the left, darts back. Guy behind doesn't have enough space to brake. We're all going so slow, we all crash. I got hit from behind, I hit another guy. Let's look at that again. All right, so episode 2 of SRS, all in the same video, all in the same lap, starting this race out. It's kind of hectic. But here we come in to the last turn here. And Pablo jumps out, right? Looking like he's going for a dive bomb, trying to throw the guy off. Then he changes his mind. He comes back in. And the guy behind him, GT Racer, doesn't have enough space to brake now. So we're all getting bunched up, and there's just not enough room, right? A lot of contact happens. I was going to go for the dive bomb up the inside, but I didn't expect everyone to be going so slowly. So naturally, there's a lot of contact that occurs. So I unfortunately hit GT Racer. Pablo hits Douglas. We all bounce off each other. I get hit from behind, and then watch this. This is netcode for sure. I send that guy just by the gentlest tap into the sand. So it's just a very strange series of events overall. I guess it was a racing incident. It was just kind of a weird series of events, really. But you guys tell me down in the comments if you want to chime in. I don't really know who was at fault. I clearly lost focus on the race, as did Hezi. We both went really deep in that last corner. Amazed that we made it largely unscathed out of that incident, but I'm still trying to get my grips back as I bounce off the sausages, getting through these corners. So we gained some positions out of it, but it's just one of those things that doesn't really feel right to gain those positions. And if you're Pablo up here in first now, I don't feel how you can take pride in being first, I guess. But we jump ahead a few laps here to lap 5, and you can see he gets a little bit of karma here. Gets a trip into the dirt, has to deal with some dirty tires. Going into the corkscrew, and it doesn't go very well for him. He also has a penalty there for some reason. I didn't see what that might have been for. So his race fell apart a little bit, but that gave me second position, so I couldn't complain about that. Now, skipping ahead here to lap 8, after we pit, caught up to some people who have yet to pit. And this is a fun game that I recommend everyone try with your opponents, right? When you're coming up to this turn, put a lot of pressure on them. Let them think that you are way too close to them and just see how they react. Is that a thing? You just have to get right up on someone's bumper and it freaks them out going into that corner? Because I've done that more than once. Without hitting anyone, too. I guess it's a mental game. Hello. I'm glad he was ghosted. That would have been a problem. So yeah, if anyone else has had that same luck, apparently pressure can go a long way. And I highly recommend it to anyone considering trying to get around someone. The rest of the race was very uneventful. As you can see, times here, based on the way the pit stops worked, it did put a little bit of a gap between me and the guy behind, which is the crazy, dangerous, scary Porsche guy. And Hezi out in front had made a lead for himself that I could not catch. So I was just kind of racing the rest of the race alone. But nonetheless, I'm just happy to have finished higher. Well, I mean, I'll take it, but I was nowhere near being the fastest in that room. Just kind of happened to be that I lucked out with the drama behind me. 30. Wow. Look at all this. Look at all these words. A lot of words being exchanged. See, that's why I ended up second. It's because all this was going down behind me. So what exactly did we learn from this? Well, truthfully, if you stay on the racing line on your first lap, you probably won't lose 4 positions and go from 3rd to 7th in the span of 20 seconds. And if you also focus on bouncing off the right people around a really tight corner when everyone's driving too close together and crashing into each other, you too can achieve greatness. Probably. Thank you all so very much for watching. We'll see you next time.